We're speaking to the beautiful Julie Woon, who is a freelance event MC for our Back to Work segment today. Now, thank you so much, Julie, for speaking to us on the Light Breakfast.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Thanks
How
for waking
are
me up.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. Well, in terms of getting back to the new norm, I think the transition has been quite smooth, really. I mean, during MCO, the first couple of weeks, I think was really tough because we can't go out, we can't go back to the normal things that we were used to, and the future was very uncertain. But it just takes about 2-3 weeks to get used to something, to pick up a new habit. So after that, as long as you create a routine and whatnot, so I've just been exercising at home and trying to eat healthy or trying to read more, just trying to keep busy, and having 2 kids at home also really helped. There were some social media engagements that I had to do as well, like Facebook live shows, IG live shows that I'm sure you guys probably did some as well, or saw a lot of like IG shows on social media as well. So I think that really just kept me busy for the past 3 months. But then now that restrictions are much lesser now, I think work is picking up. Like I told you before, Belle. Now launches are mostly virtual. But the thing is, people don't see behind the scenes what happens during these virtual shoots. Sometimes the shows are not live. So having live events is so much more easier because you go for the event is 2 hours and you go home. It's a 2-hour event, but then virtual launches, you can shoot it for 12 hours, 2 days straight, because of the camera angles, the lighting, the backdrop, green screen, the animation that has to go behind it. Like I do car launches as well, so the position of the car. What's that?
It's like a production.
Yeah, it's an entire production, like for a drama series or a TV series.
It is. They shoot it exactly like a drama series because you need your reaction shots too when you're asking questions. Or, you've got the wide angle, then you've got the side profile angle where you're not looking at the camera. You've got, various cameras for the person you're interviewing and the interviewee. So it's actually a whole different ball game because live events, or even like live shows like these radio shows, you can say whatever you want. But when you're recording something, you have to be extra careful with what you're saying,
Because what's recorded is recorded forever.
No, even live events, if we say anything wrong, it's out there already and we can't edit it. So there's right?
Anyway, let's back it up a bit slightly. You said when MCO happened and then there were no jobs and whatnot, come on, the first 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure all you did was sleep in, be a couch potato and whatnot, right? Come on.
I would love to, but then having 2 young kids is so difficult to sleep in. I don't think I've slept in for 6 years. Unless somebody would just, take care of my kids for a day, which actually, thank goodness I've got such a supportive partner. So he does the morning shift and he makes breakfast and all that so that I could sleep in. And then actually night shift also he does it too. So I just help him whenever I can.
But I know previously, before the MCO event, you do a lot of event MC, live event MC on a weekly basis. Have you lost a lot of jobs during that MCO period?
Well, okay, because bookings for events happens probably 2 weeks to 3, 4, 5 months prior to the event, right? So let's say MCO in March. My bookings would have started already in February or even December last year. So with that being said, my calendar, I could see a lot of the events were being moved because people were unsure. So they said, okay, Julie, from March, I think we better postpone it to April. So April, they said, okay, let's postpone it to 30th June, end of June. So it was very fluid. the events weren't cancelled per se, but they kept postponing, and then some converted into virtual events, and some which are conferences, which involved a lot of people coming in, delegates from overseas, those had to be cancelled and pushed to next year. So a lot of events, depending on the type of events, a lot of car events that I'm doing now were pushed from February, March, April, because the cars are here, and no matter what, they would still need to launch the car, whether sooner or later. So some events, they have to, it has to happen, and some events, I guess like awards nights and appreciation dinners and whatnot, I think the idea is to push it till end of the year, or there's this awards night happening as well, but completely virtual. So I think people are just working around it. Events companies who are also affected badly, I would say, during this MCO, they're trying to just innovate and trying to change from on-ground event to a virtual event. But I think now with the restrictions easing, and events are likely to happen, right, with 250 packs and below, depending on the SOPs and all that.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the events that were scheduled to happen the past 4 months are going to happen in the next, I don't know, half a year.
But how did you feel though when you heard that the MCO was announced, no events can be held? How did you feel about, like, oh no, I have so many jobs pending. What am I going to do, for the next 2 weeks?
I mean, yeah, I guess at one point, of course, you will be a bit disappointed, but that is just one of the many emotions that you are going through, because you're going through this pandemic, which is affecting the world. So, my little events got cancelled. It seems like a very minuscule problem to the world pandemic, and people are dying. So if I put it at really a larger scale, and every day in the news, you read really bad stuff. You read like millions of people are unemployed. Then there's a rise in abuse at home. There's a huge surge in divorce cases and everything that's going on. I felt like, okay, mine has just been postponed. No big deal, And I think a lot of people are worried because of uncertainty. And yeah, of course, we'll feel uncertain and we'll feel, whether we can get back into the whole groove or whatnot. But I think, I was quite sure that once everything is settled, we can slowly revive the economy again. I was in no doubt that in due time, the events will come back. You just got to be certain with your skill set, with what you can offer, on the table. It's just a temporary predicament that we're in, But my focus wasn't on like the jobs or whatever. It's just, okay, how are we gonna manage this? Not going out. Are the parents okay? My dad is stuck in Sabah because he lives there and he can't come back. And he's finally going to come back next week, after like half a year. But make sure he doesn't have to quarantine. How are we going to entertain the kids? Now, that was the hardest thing ever. Because having
no
school,
kids, yeah.
Yeah. And then how to adapt to e-learning. So really, your time is very, very full. And I would try to fit in workouts, once or twice a day. And then, like trying to do Zoom calls, which was very popular at the beginning of MCO, and then now kind of like died down, because people can go out again. So I think my mind, just keeping my mind really occupied and active, not in the traditional sense of having events per se, because usually I'll be memorizing scripts and, going for meetings and rehearsals and briefings and whatnot. But as long as you're keeping active, you don't feel like your life is just being wasted. And even if it is an opportunity to really reset and to really think about, okay, if this doesn't happen, what am I going to do? And again, having a really supportive partner really helps, because he's working and whatnot, and we are assured that we're okay. We're not in a bad position in any sense that we couldn't complain, So I knew I wasn't in a position to complain. Yeah.
Financially, were you hit badly or you're okay?
I've been working for a long time now, and of course savings is something that is ingrained in us. especially by my parents, So financially, I have no complaints. And also, I guess with the help of government, you don't have to pay your loans for the next few months. And, we're not going out to eat. And the only thing that I've been really spending on is groceries. I really don't have much to complain, There's nothing much to spend on. I'm just glad that I have a home. I still have I still technically have a job, and my kids can still do e-learning, and everything is just good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, as Asians, we're all taught to save for a rainy day. Did you think that this rainy day would last for so long?
For 4 months, right? Oh yeah, it's like it's like a rainstorm, man. It's not just a rain. This rain didn't stop. Both literally as well, right? It's been raining a lot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know it affected a lot of people, and I've spoken to my friends and whatnot, many of which are in the gig economy. So many are freelancers. We are freelancers, but people think freelancers are just, okay, one-off here and there, but we are full-time freelancers. And I've been full-time freelancing for 15 years, really. So it feels like a full-time job sometimes. Sometimes we work more than what a normal 9 to 5 would do. Yeah, but being in the gig economy, I guess it would be harder to save for most, because easy come, easy go, easy come, easy go. And it's harder to plan when you are unsure of the amount you're going to receive for that month and whatnot, So I know a lot of friends who are in the industry, they probably have it hit harder. And some of them own the events companies, or they have staff to manage. And that would be much harder for them, because their overhead costs is much higher. For me, I'm a one-man show. So really, I just have to pay for myself and for my family, actually. But the rest, they've got a whole manara to pay off, loans, their company, their offices, their overhead bills, the suppliers to pay. And so that's why we see a lot of companies closing down as well, which is sad. But I guess on that scale, mine wasn't really bad. Like, how much do I really need to survive? At the end of this MCO, I realized we really don't need that much to survive.
That's true.
We just have to learn to live within our means, And I've been reading a lot of books and psychological articles about that, living within your means. There's a lot of things we really don't need. And I realized that even when I go to groceries, when I go grocery shopping, I used to like to buy a lot of organic chocolate spread and whatnot. And now I'm thinking, okay, do I really need it? And will it help reduce my waist size? It just makes us think twice. And I think that's refreshing. Otherwise, we'll just go on with our lives, over consuming and just just being wasteful, and not really stopping to reevaluate how we do things and what we do. Some things are really unnecessary.
Yeah.
And then also, connecting with friends again, with family, and you see who are your real friends as well, and who you can bear talking to, and who you really miss, and what you really miss. So it really put things in perspective. There's so much things that became very clear during these unclear times.
Yeah. But how different is it now? Like earlier you said that you are now hosting more virtual events. How different is it to be a virtual event MC? What kind of new skill sets do you have to acquire to sort of transition from live show host to virtual show host?
A virtual show host is very much like shooting a TV show. So thankfully, like for us as well, right? I mean, you've been on Quickie and various other shows on 8TV and TV7. It's exactly the same, with the camera angles, with the whole production team. You've got your DOP, you've got your director, you've got your lighting guy. So it's exactly the same setup, but instead of hosting a thematic TV show every week, we're talking about whatever we're launching, So it could be a gadget, it could be a beauty brand. It could be an automotive brand. And all we need to do is just really know your opening links, your closing links, whether you're interviewing anybody in between. And for me, I have to do product presentations, so I would have to know the product very well. But it's very, very different from live events in the sense that we get to vibe off the crowd. You get to see people's reaction and you get to talk to them. And the interaction and connection is strong, you know, and you can shorten or elongate your speech. You can, sometimes you forget your line, so it doesn't matter because, you know, for MCs, there are ways that you can solve
Ad-lib.
by time. Yeah. What do you think? But actually, I forgot my line. But for virtual events, when you are being recorded, you can't have 2 hours to host your event. You have to compress that 2-hour event into 20 minutes max. And we try to do it within 15 minutes. And that is tough. So from opening to closing and your launch gambit and your product presentation, it's all in 15 minutes to capture the attention. Because I can't be interacting with crowd per se because it's all virtual. So to compress everything in such short timing, very few ad-libbing is allowed. You really have to know your lines in and out. And your grammar has to be perfect, which I realized, oh my God, grammar is just, it's just terrible, you know.
There's speaking grammar and then there's written grammar. So
yes, exactly. Like I study Bahasa Baku, right? But when we speak, we don't speak like that. We don't speak the Queen's English.
Yes.
So that's why live events, we get to be a little bit more laid back and chill because it's not just your vocals and your visuals, but you know, your mannerisms, your body language. There's a lot of things going on. You've got your light show going on, music. There are a lot of elements that make a whole event. Virtual events, they're just looking at your face and your mouth talking. And people are looking at it 100%. So there's a lot of room for criticism, like, why she look like that? Why is she talking like that? Why is the accent so strong? You know, especially when you hear yourself on radio or on TV, we sound a bit different, you know, so we're more hypercritical, and then now they can rewind back and then watch again. You know, that's live event. You make a mistake, you laugh it off, haha, make a joke, and then you move on. This one, you need to recut and recut and recut. And then when you recut, you know, maybe the vibe is different and it shows in your face. So sometimes when I'm concentrating on my lines, the director will say, hey, Julie, you forgot to smile. Oh, okay. You need to smile and you need to say it convincingly and confidently when you're talking about really technical specs of the car. But at the same time, how do you not be so technical and be engaging when you are on a virtual launch, you know? So that is the new set of problems that I'm facing, a new set of challenges, I would say, that I'm keeping in mind and thinking, okay, how do I engage the crowd looking at the screen?
You have to engage the camera.
Yeah, but it's also the words that we use, you know? Because when you go technical, you lose them. You lose them straight up, you know? Sometimes I guess we need to add in some questions, add in some stories, you know, add in your own personal take on things in a more professional sense, you know, because you only have that 15 minutes as opposed to 2 hours, I would say. You know, last time I would spend half an hour or 45 minutes just talking about one car. Now I'm given 10 minutes. So I really have to choose what I want to say. Like, if you want to be funny here, then you have to forego that spec of the engine, you know? Or if you want to talk about these tires, then I really can't tell about my experience driving this car. So there's a huge opportunity cost, I would say. A lot more thinking, a lot more hours to shoot it as well. So it's just a different set of problems. But thankfully, with TV practice before, I think it's slightly easier. I think if somebody will be to do this for the first time in front of cameras, it will be a bit intimidating because you have a team of 10 to 20 people behind the cameras and the lights shining down your face, you're sweating, you know, you're listening, and the cameras are just looking at you. It's intimidating. You look at the camera and nobody's smiling or talking, you may forget your lines. It's like you're a deer caught in headlights. Exactly how you look and feel. Oh my gosh, what do I say? What do I say? And then you feel bad. You don't want to can't NG do it again and again, because after the 5th time, you see people's face getting restless.
Right, yeah.
But I mean,
So
I'm
there's a
quite
lot of
curious.
pressure.
I'm quite curious about all these virtual events. Like, how do they work? Is it a media only event? Are they going to put it up on Facebook? Where will they launch these events? Is it for public?
Yeah, usually for both. I mean, if you're going to spend so much money um, shooting the whole process and hiring a huge team of people, you've got the agencies and a production company and all that, you might want as many people as possible. You want a huge reach, to spread the word. So like the events that I do, they're both for media and public.
Okay.
So what they can do is they can upload this virtual launch that they pre-recorded on as many social media websites as they can, on YouTube, on their Facebook page, on their website, or a specially generated website. But the idea is to get as much reach as possible and to draw as many people to their social media as possible. So like, let's say for instance, the one that I just did, the launch, we have to register on the website, and then it would lead us to a link that has the whole video, and then it would lead you to another site where there's a virtual showroom where you can physically see the car 360 degrees as though you are in the showroom. So there's so many ways actually, using animation and AI and green screen, that you can practically do so much more things than a live event. I can move the car here upside down, as opposed to having a live event where the car is just static. So if you want to enter the show, there'll be a website or social media websites where you go in and you have to register yourself. They'll say, are you a media or are you public? Click on that, and then you key in your credentials, just your name and whatnot, your details, and it will lead you to a page. So obviously media might have slightly different content. Maybe you've got a bit more facts and figures, things that media want to write on. And then for the public, it's just, they just want to know about the car. They don't want to know how many cars you intend to sell, what is your marketing strategy and all that. They just want to know, okay, about the car specs, maybe a welcome remarks from the VIP, so that remains. And then Q&A probably only for the media, session. So it's exactly like how you do an event for the media and for the public, or for their internal sales team as well. So sometimes there are 3 sessions that I do. I just change my opening link. Hi, welcome media friends. Oh, hi, welcome ladies and gentlemen. Oh, hi, welcome to the internal staff or whatnot. But then the content, when I talk about the car, is the same. Everybody knows the same thing about the car, because that can't change, right? And then the ending might be different. Ending for public, maybe I have a pop quiz, you might win prizes, or ending would be, hey, visit us in our virtual showroom, but maybe not for their internal staff. Maybe for their internal staff, they have like a feedback form. What are your worries or your questions? So it's great that we could just do that by just changing a link, and just maybe different sites, different websites where they could click, or as opposed to having a live event, we'll have to
do
have
3 events.
3 sessions.
Yeah.
So in a way, the processes are different, but there's good and bad in it,
Yeah.
We have compressed everything in just 20 minutes, so that saves your time. And then if you forget something, you can just repeat it. That's the good thing as well. And you can do it in the comfort of your home or at your office or whatnot. But having live events, it's longer and you can't repeat the whole thing, but you have that connection, that human interaction, and sometimes for a lot of brands, that is very important, and how sure are you people are actually listening to you when you're streaming? They could be just fast forwarding the site. So how much have they absorbed?
Correct.
So there are pros and cons to both, but I feel that moving forward, events will definitely start, like Zoom calls were very popular at the beginning, and then everybody was doing it. But then now you just need a few companies to start throwing live events, and then virtual events might be a passe. But I feel like live events would happen with an online element to it. So they're probably just going to live feed everything,
Yeah.
Why not? Because the whole setup is there already. Might as well just live feed for people who can't come or who are not invited, and to reach more people. So it's definitely a combination of both.
So
And also moving forward, if you can't invite that many people, so only like the exclusive invites, exclusive people who are invited. So, you know, events would be more rare, but more exclusive as well. So people might want to come.
Yeah.
And those who can't, then I guess they can just watch online. Combination of both.
Yeah, so I think you see that as the future of events in this new normal, right? You get you get the exclusive invites for the live events, and then people online watching the virtual event. But do you charge the same amount of fees to host these virtual events?
Wow.
Wow. Let's just talk about how much I make.
Yes.
Let's just tell everybody. Well,
you don't need to give us in dollars and cents. Yeah. You can just tell us if it's more or less.
It's more or less, but it also goes by the hour. So if a normal launch event live would be 3 to 4 hours, then if you can shoot that within 3 to 4 hours, is the same fees. But in reality, to shoot that, it will take 12 hours. So I would have to possibly add by 50% more at least to double the rates, because it goes by the hours. But then again, it may seem a lot overall in terms of production, but it's not, because the clients actually really save a lot of money on not doing any launch gimmick and gambit and a backdrop and renting of venues and food and all that, which you know, usually for the events company, you would know that that is a huge sum. And then you've got your invites, you've got your door gifts, you've got the little things that, you know, you don't take into consideration when you're doing an event. But virtual event, you can do without all those physical aspects. So essentially, you need a studio. You need a studio to shoot it. You save a lot of cost, but you gain other costs as well. And you don't need a whole events crew, a whole team to be executing your event. You know, you don't need a banquet staff. So in that sense, really, you need 20 people in the production shoot to shoot you and to edit and to upload and whatnot. Of course, behind the scenes, the client might have their own agency and whatnot. That remains the same. But I think it takes much lesser people with a different skill sets to do a virtual event, and hence your cost would decrease as well. Yeah.
So does that mean it's more lucrative for you to continue doing virtual events?
It will balance out, because if, let's say, live events per month, I do 10 to 15 live events, but virtual events, maybe I do 5. It balances out, you know. And I don't know about the longevity of doing virtual events, because I think in due time, people will revert back to live events. But I guess it's great to have a new stream of avenue.
Yeah.
You know, and then people are focusing more on social media engagements as well. So a lot of inquiries have been in that, you know, can you host a series of live shows for my company, or can you promote more of my products on the social media? So I guess, you know, there are opportunities in every challenging times, you know. And so I guess it all balances out. I wouldn't say, oh my gosh, I'm breaking it in. But not that. I think it's just surviving and adapting.
As you are a freelancer, Julie, like, what are some of the SOPs that you've set for yourself to keep yourself safe when you go out to work at these virtual events?
Social distancing is for sure. I bring my mask. I sanitize my hands a lot. I tap out my own food. I pack from home with my own cutleries, and I bring my own water as well. And I you know, I've got this phobia about fabrics, so I like to sit on tissue papers or like a bunch of papers or plastic or whatnot. I choose the type of surface that I like to sit on. That is
non-fabric,
wipeable. That you can just wipe off. So you know, I'll just sort of wipe off the surface and be more cautious about where I'm seated or touching. And it's tough because I'm a very touchy person, but I've done without the hugs and the mwah mwah, the cheek kiss and the handshakes already. So
what about makeup?
Makeup, usually for events, I do my own makeup. But now that it's allowed, I can hire, I do get this same person who has been my makeup artist for many years to assist me, but she will come with her own face mask and full SOPs, and I trust her. She's not a stranger, so I trust her like a friend. So makeup, either I do on my own or this one person does for me. On set, they do have their own makeup artist to just probably touch up if you look like you're a glowing ball of oil in front of the camera. But usually I just use my own or do my own. Yeah. So I guess sticking to those that you're familiar with helps lah.
But have that thought ever passed your mind, right? Like, what happens if all events are cancelled indefinitely? What's the plan, if this doesn't work out?
But can I still travel? Can I travel? Is that an option, or must I stay home?
No, you can go out. It's just that maybe no live event.
What is the backup plan? Is it what's the
backup plan? What is your backup plan, sort of?
Well, I really, if MCO was longer than what it was, I guess it would have forced me to really think about things then. But I knew it was temporary because the inquiries were still coming, but in different form. They were coming for September or December or for online base. So I wasn't too worried in that aspect. But I guess, if it would be a bit more permanent, then I guess I wouldn't mind taking a year or two off and just recalibrate. I was thinking this is the best time for me to do what I really wanted, and that's to learn languages. I wanted to fly to Taiwan, pick up Mandarin, maybe for half a year or a year, fly to Japan and pick up Japanese, maybe visit my brother who lives in the UK. So I'll be doing a lot of traveling if the borders were open. And
they weren't, that means you'd be a full-time mom.
I can't do that. That is really tough. That is really tough. And I respect all full-time moms. It's just a skill set that involves a lot of patience, and I'm not sure that I have that. I think balance is very important for my sanity as well. And I don't know. I'm not sure what's my other passion, because ever since I was in uni, I've already started emceeing. So it's the only thing I really know how to do. Although I study economics and marketing and all that, but it's the only thing that I've done and know how to do. I suppose what came up in my mind, which I still intend to do, was to, because I dealt in a lot of automotive, in the automotive scene, and I work for a lot of automotive companies. So I intended to do a lot of videos, probably put up on my own YouTube page in regards to automotive industry. So from a girl's perspective. So I wanted to do videos like, what would a girl do if your car breaks down? Or what is the difference between a four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive? Do we know that? More so as a woman, what's the difference between, like, we know, okay, that's an SUV, but they are categorized in A, B, C, D segment. What's the difference?
I would watch that show, man. I would love that.
So I'm very interested and passionate about the automotive scene. So my thoughts was, okay, I'm coming up with a bunch of videos that I'm interested in, that I would like to know about cars. Not just, covering a bunch of cars and whatnot, because I'm not as good as automotive journalists. They know cars, they see cars, they can tell you everything about it, and they cover all car launches. For me, I just want to talk about things that I'm interested in, that I thought would be fun topics about cars.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't pretend like I know everything about cars, but it would just be my take on it. As a mom, this is a great soccer mom's car, and the sunroof would be great because it distracts the kids for half an hour, stuff like that, stuff that we can relate to as a woman or as a working mom. But staying home and just doing nothing and just
be a tai.
That's impossible. That is definitely not an option. Then I would feel life is wasted. If you don't just try to do something that you're passionate about. I mean, it has to be a balance. You have to spend time with your kids, but I think my kids would be worried as well if I'm just like in their faces all the time. You don't have work to do. Don't you want to go out? And I want to do something that would inspire them as well. You know, you've got to pursue what you want to do, even despite these challenging times. You know, I don't want to just give in and just, okay, you're stuck with me forever now, kids. It's just you. You're my focus now. So I definitely want to do something, because, you know, then there's more things to talk about, and then more things that I could teach them as well. So I think with a balance, I will be a better overall person, including a mom.
Yeah. Now, do you have any advice, Julie, for all the freelancers on how to overcome this difficult time, or some who has not gone back to work yet and maybe are rethinking their career? Yeah,
I would say hang in there, because although it's worrying that that is very uncertain right now, but behind the scenes a lot of work is happening already. And you know, events, it needs a lot of months to prepare. So in the months to come, rest assured, more events would happen. So you just gotta hang in there for that couple of months more. You know, keep yourself busy and learn a new skill, a new language. Now you can go out or you know, work on your body, and only hang out with positive people and positive vibes only, you know. and just know that this is temporary. And that's what I keep telling myself every day. Oh, this is just temporary. This is just temporary. So it gives you a better perspective, rather than to just ruminate and just dwell in this never-ending cycle of, oh my gosh, my life and whatnot. Money, definitely you can find it, you know, but your skill set, brush it up, because that is your asset, and people see that. And no matter the situation or the condition, whether it's going to be virtual or live, people hire you for your skill set, you know, so you can work on that, and the rest will just fall into place.